Welcome back to the third part of the interview with Tina Turner, the Rolling Stone interview. First, I'm going to warn you, this is the worst it's going to get. So stay with me because I didn't take you out here for trauma porn. I took you out here to see how somebody could start low and get high. So you have to wait till the end. Continuing. When was the turning point professionally speaking? I recorded a demo and I sang on it. He wasn't trying to sell my voice, he was trying to sell stuff as a producer. The record company said, "Why don't you record it with the girl's voice?" As a result, I became officially a professional performer. I was 20 and my kid was about 2. Ike said, "Now we have to make up a name." And this naming is so reminiscent of slavery, right? She has a name and he has a name, but he has to change her name to show ownership. And that's when Ike and Tina started. He wanted his name as it was given to him there, because he always produced people only to have them get record deals and leave. So he wanted to own her. When did your sexual relationship with Ike begin? He had broken up with the mother of his 2 sons, who I ended up raising, his 2 sons, that is. He was without a girlfriend. One of the musicians said he was going to come to my room and have sex with me. I couldn't lock the door, so I went to sleep with Ike, thinking he would protect me. Shit. Laughs. It happened then, but I thought, well, okay, I'll just do it once. Laughs. I didn't really know what to do because I wasn't turned on to him, even though laughs. It was good. I did enjoy the physical part, but I didn't love him and I didn't like it because of that. But I didn't know how to handle it because I also didn't want to lose my job. I knew he wasn't right for me. He was a man. He did serious things like going to clubs and talking business. I was still used to going to movies and playing basketball. I had a kid, but I was still hanging out with high school friends. She was sexually exploited, but people, especially men who like to think of women as sluts and derogatory terms for women's sexuality, will not see that in this. She's trying to escape rape from one of the band members, which she should have been protected from, because saying to someone, "I'm coming to your room to have sex with you," that's not consensual sex. That is threatening to rape someone. She tries to escape thinking Ike will protect her, but Tina has no sense of what a protective man looks like, so she goes to a bigger predator. And the sexual encounter is, yes, of course, your body has physiological responses to sex. Even if you don't want to do it, your body has its own sensors, triggers, receptors that just act on its own. So because someone seems to physically enjoy something, if they're not consenting and not mentally there with you, that is coercion. And then she has the thing of knowing, hey, I might lose my job. She needs this job for her kid. And as she says, I'm a child, he's a man. And so those are the lines where that's when the abuse started. Who was the Ike Turner whom you knew? Ike was the son of a preacher and a seamstress. And listen to me. Sometimes religious people are the most dangerous people to be around, because religion tend to have hierarchical structures that put people in different places below other people. Some religions, and also religious people, tend to be self-righteous and not see their own ways, and are more likely to see negative in other people. He didn't like school, so he wasn't an educated person. I don't think he even finished grade school. He had a complex about how he spoke. A lot of his fight came because he was embarrassed about his manners and not being educated. So Ike had a built-in anger, and the drugs just magnified that. So you're seeing one of the common features of domestic violence that we've found in research, that it's low self-esteem of the perpetrator and low self-esteem of the person who's abused. So this is a match made in hell. I always knew that Ike had talent and was a great musician. He was not a great songwriter, because all of his songs were about pain or women. That was his life dilemma. I hated those songs. I knew he was writing about other women. Psychologically, you have to try and make yourself think you like a song when you sing it. When he sensed I was delivering it poorly, he blamed me for not getting involved in the work. He said he couldn't make hit records because of my lack of involvement. All the blame was put on me. It was all the suppressed anger he had. So he can't take responsibility for his inadequacy. He has to find a victim to put it on. Did Ike have lots of other women? He always did. He never stopped that. I didn't like it, but I was trapped. We did a hit record, A Fool in Love, in 1960, and I was the star, so he just grabbed on because he was afraid of losing me. The success and the fear came almost hand in hand. When I finally went to tell him that I didn't want to go on, that's when he got the shoe stretcher. So there's this dependency he has on her. She's the real star and he needs her. But he doesn't think the way to keep her is to treat her well. It's to demean her and it's to beat her into submission. And the womanizing, that's again showing his low self-esteem. And beat you for the first time. Yeah. I said, I cannot travel with you. I cannot sing those songs. He said, okay, we'll make some allowances, give you a certain amount of money. And I said, okay, that was the trick. So we started traveling, and that's when I got involved. I didn't plan it because he said he was going to pay me. And when he didn't, I was afraid to ask for the money because I was living with him. I got involved before I knew what to do about it. And that's a part of domestic violence. It's the financial abuse. He's in control of the money, but she's making the money. It's her money, but he's in control of it. That, of course, began 16 years of beating. You are a battered wife, controlled by fear. It was a thoroughly unhappy situation I was in, but I was too far gone. I was trapped into really caring about Ike. If I left him, what was he going to do? Go back to St. Louis? I didn't want to let him down. As horrible as he treated me, I still felt responsible for letting him down. And that was a mental problem I had at the time. And I was afraid to leave. I knew I had no place to hide because he knew where my people were. My mother was actually living in Ike's house in St. Louis. My sister was living in an apartment basically rented by Ike. It's hard to explain. This man was beating me. I always had a black eye or something, and he had women all over the place, and he wouldn't give me money, and yet I didn't leave. I felt sorry for him. So she was already a parentified child, as we told you, so she's full of empathy and responsibility for other people. Even this older man, which should be parenting her, she's responsible for him. And he's isolating her because he gets those who should be her support system. He bribes them by controlling where they live, their rent. So whose side are they going to fall on? Tina's, who has no money to help them, or Ike, who controls the purse strings? Having been left by both of your parents, you were a person who really understood the pain of abandonment, how that pain could bring. Yes, and at first I was in love with him. I was afraid, but I cared about him. I cared about destroying his career as long as I was unattached to him as I've been to my own family. Then I was just there. So she's telling you exactly, I'm recreating the unhealthy relationships I had in my childhood. Here's what happens when you grow up in an unhealthy home. You make a new unhealthy home. Still, Tina, this was a man who beat and humiliated you repeatedly. It's difficult to understand exactly how you managed to stay there and take it. You could almost say I felt like I was given a mission, trying not to depend on him. I remember not wanting him to have to need me. Isn't that incredible? I kept trying to find a way that when I left him, I wouldn't feel guilty. I felt that I didn't want to do to somebody what had been done to me. Sometimes you just don't know why you do things. I just felt so responsible for that person. I wanted to leave and knew that eventually I was going to. I just didn't know when. I kept thinking, how much longer do I have to go on like this? I wondered about talking about this because I don't want to seem like a fool. When I finally did leave him, it all made sense. I couldn't have left before because I had to finish the karma, and the karma was dealing with the lessons that you have to learn. I don't share her faith in terms of you have to learn negative lessons. You can read a book and read about domestic violence. You don't have to experience it. As a matter of fact, you're safest from domestic violence when you cut it off at the first sign of it. Don't learn that way. Screw karma. learn by reading things like Tina Turner and don't go into that life. But what I wanted here was that this guilt and responsibility, it all comes from being a parentified child and having low self-esteem. So she feels responsible all the time. And you, as people, we have to know, what am I really responsible for? And my first responsibility is for myself, for my safety, and for my well-being. Continuing, there are many terrible things that I did to you, but none more incomprehensible than beating you and then making you have sex with him afterwards. He acted as if that was a normal part of a relationship, but that part was really torture. But the part that was really torture were the wire hangers. I'm so embarrassed that people know that's what I had to go through. I didn't want an ugly life, and I got myself trapped into it. I never stopped praying, and that was my tool. Psychologically, I was protecting myself, which is why I didn't do drugs and didn't drink. I had to stay in control, so I just kept searching spiritually for answers. I respect her for searching spiritually for answers, but you're not a spiritual being alone. You're also a physical one that has to protect your body. So you have to find the resources that you can find that will help keep your physical body safe. So it's good to pray, but pray and work at something at the same time. Also, it's the wire hangers and that kind of beating, and then going to have a connection. And I think sometimes that even comes from when we beat children. After we finish beating them, then they're calm and we connect with them, and they get this idea that beatings are a way of connecting with another human being. When if someone hits me, that's a disconnecting. I do not like you. I think you harmed me. So again, there's so many things connected with what we teach kids and what we tell them to accept. Someone told Ike that after you hit someone, you then connect with them physically, and that is so gross. Did you ever actually try to leave him? Yeah, a few times, but he always caught me before I left, and that scared me. I knew if I got caught, I was going to get the hanger. The first time he used the hanger, I had to run off. I borrowed money from the people around me. They always helped me because they knew what was going on, and I took a bus. Can you believe there's a community of people who know about this abuse and not do anything? And that's what happens a lot. It's like people say it's not our business, but it becomes our business because domestic violence is an infectious disease. It keeps on spreading from generation to generation. The anger, the rage, the hate, it just infects the whole community. They always help. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I looked right into his face. Get off, you mother effer, he said. It scared the shit out of me. I got to my destination before I did. He had a gun at the time. He always made me feel that at any moment he might put it to my head. Anyway, we went back to the hotel and he kept playing with the gun. He knew what he was doing. There was the hanger lying there, and suddenly he grabbed it and started turning it in his hand. I couldn't believe what was happening. I had such control over it. He must have used it on somebody else before. Yeah, it didn't start beating women with you, with Tina Turner. It started before. And also, that seems like learned behavior. His loving parents, and I use loving sarcastically, might have beat him with hangers. Those things are so. To beat somebody with a metal hanger, it comes from such an ugly place in yourself that it has to be built up over time. It finally got so bad that you attempted suicide by taking an overdose of Valium because I didn't know how to get out. You got to think, you've got to use your head. And when I started chanting is when I started using my head. I started thinking, I'm not going to kill myself. There's nothing here for me. The person doesn't realize that I'm helping him. And I've tried to be good and kind. So that's when I actually went to the spiritual side for myself, and I got it. I'm glad she got there through her spiritual side. If you're not a spiritual person, you get there by seeking out social service help, by finding out how to make a safety plan for yourself, by finding how to leave safely. Yeah, and the most important person again to help is not another grown up who's responsible for their own well being, but it's to help you. You're the biggest project you have, you're the person that you should love. When you left him in July 1976, you left with no money, right? I had nothing. I didn't even know how to get money. I had a girl working for me who had worked for Ike because she knew about the ways of getting money. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I didn't think I'd be able to find a house, but I did. He sent over the kids and money for my first rent because he thought I'd have to come back when that ran out. We slept on the floor the first night. I rented furniture. I had some blue chip stamps and that I had the kids bring, and I got dishes. Then my sister helped me with food. We used food stamps. Yeah, food stamps. I was doing Hollywood Squares and some of these television shows. Yeah, sometimes if you can't bring the money together, you go to anywhere you can get it from, the government, the church, anywhere that you can get help, get help. When was the last time you saw Ike? I haven't seen him since my divorce. It was in court. Where is he now? In California, someplace. He sends telegrams asking for money. So the big bad Ike who used guns and power is just this weakling who's dependent, a sick person that did not do the work of healing. And he himself grew up in must have grown up seeing this ugliness to repeat this ugliness onto the world. So I have empathy for him, but I will never have empathy for someone at the risk of my own health because I only love my neighbors as much as I love myself. There's not a neighbor that I'll ever love more than I love me. And yeah, so this is where we leave off. The fourth and final one, you'll see her go up. So stick around for that because this wasn't about torturing you. This was about and always about learning how to thrive while Black. Thank you for listening.